record on this computer. All right. We are good. All right. Welcome to G Slade's Indie Music Showcase. Today we're talking to Jemma and Alex of About Bunny. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks so much for coming on. So the first thing is tell me about where you guys are.
We're both in London in lockdown. So so we're so close but so far. But yeah, we're both living in London. We're not both from London, but we've been here for many years now.
Which are either of you from London?
No, I'm originally from Northern Ireland, near Belfast, if you know
Nice.
it. Bit of a watered down accent. It's been living in London a while.
Yeah.
And Jemma is from Hull.
Yeah, I'm from Hull in York. Well, I'm from Beverley, which is near Hull in Yorkshire. But also my accent has been watered down as well. We've been in London for too long. It's kind of stealing our regional accents.
Yeah, so we're both northern women.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, Vivian Campbell's from Belfast, so that's pretty neat. The guitarist, you guys familiar with him?
No,
I'm not.
Well,
I love how you both went, yes.
yeah. No, yes, no. All right. No, he plays in Def Leppard. He was in White Snake and Dio back in the day. So really good guitarist. Don't know any famous musicians from Holland. I have to think about it. I'm sure there are some.
I'm from Hull, not Holland.
Oh, I thought you said Holland.
Hull.
H-U.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that. That makes me sound way more interesting that I'm from Holland. No, there are some good musicians from Hull. There's a band called the House Martins that were big for my parents' era, and they were from Hull. I'm sure there's loads more that I probably should know, so I can reel them off.
I probably heard Holland because you said Hull and at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I was like, Holland. Okay, I know where. Never heard of Hull.
No.
Cool. Well, I am in Mississippi. Hopefully my regional accent is not heavy.
No, it's good.
Thanks. All right. So we're here to talk about your band, About Bunny. It's kind of an interesting name. Why don't you guys tell me about that first?
Malcy.
Over to you.
Yeah, so we were looking for band names for a while, and I think everyone has this where you have a huge long list, and then I think nowadays there's so many bands and you can find so many. So we had a long list, but we eventually came up with About Bunny from the movie The Big Lebowski, if you're familiar with it.
Oh, I love Lebowski.
There's a character played by Tara Reid called Bunny.
Yeah.
And she's a very free woman who kind of runs circles around all these guys in this hilarious movie. And we just thought it was a really cool band name, and we're big Tara Reid fans.
Yeah. And she tweeted us when we told her. We told her that we named the band after her character. And then she tweeted us and we were very excited.
That is exciting. If anyone listening or watching hasn't seen Lebowski, like pause this, go watch Big Lebowski and come back and it'll all make sense.
Yeah. Light a joint and then watch it.
Yeah, that's like my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it over and over again, and I try to expose people to it as much as I can. So,
really love it.
Cool. And how long have you guys been a band? Kind of give me the backstory of how it kind of came together.
So we've been a band as a four-piece for just over 18 months. Do you think, Alex? Alex and I knew each other first.
Yeah, we started writing together, I think, in 2018, and we got in a room together and we wrote the first single we released in 10 minutes, and we didn't know whether we could write together. We thought we'd just give it a go, and then it just worked, luckily.
Yeah, I think it was earlier than that though. I'm sure it was 2017, or maybe we met in 2017 then we started writing together in 2018. Is that right?
Yeah, that was it.
Stuff we should know. Stuff we should have known somewhere. But yeah, and we really loved writing together, and we got together with some producers that are old friends of mine, and then we decided that it would be fun to do it as a four-piece. So we kind of found mutual friends and found Luke and Carl, who are drummer and guitarist, through mutual friends, and then we've been kind of playing together for about 18 months, I'd say now. It's hard with COVID to know how long ago things were.
Yeah, we kind of lost a year, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like last year I went. No, I didn't go anywhere last year.
Or I feel like, oh, the other day. The other day, I'm like, it wasn't the other day. It was 2.5 years ago. I just feel like I missed.
And hell, we're almost a year into the lockdowns, which is just, it's kind of dragged by, but it's also blown by. Like, God, we've been doing this a year and we're all just used to it. You know, I feel weird to see 3 people together with no mask on. You know, we're together on the screen.
Yeah, for sure.
How locked down is London?
Fully.
Yeah.
Everything's shut. You're only allowed outside to get groceries. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. So no restaurants, bars.
No.
They were open for a period. They were open for like, when they opened in July, and then they shut again in September.
Yeah.
And they opened again in November, and then a week before Christmas, the entire country went on to national lockdown. So the whole of England and Wales, and is Ireland and Scotland as well. Scotland are.
Yeah, Scotland, Northern Ireland. But yeah, it's been on and off for a year, just opening, reopening, opening, reopening.
But right now we're fully locked down.
Fully locked down, yeah. So we're very grateful to be on the show.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we could do the show. You'd think they'd be able to like lock down England being an island and kind of, you know, make sure everybody's good and then open it back up. Just don't let anybody in or out, you know, except for the food deliveries.
Yeah.
So, interesting fact I looked up about England a long time ago was like, is it like 100% of the food is imported? There's like no, I mean, or something like that. It's like a large, it may not be 100. That sounds crazy, but it was a very large.
100. We do vegetables here, I think.
Yeah, got a little bit of farming.
Yeah, we have, actually there is a lot of farming, isn't there?
It was maybe they export that stuff though. You know what I mean? Maybe it's some weird circle of crops that goes out and back in.
Yeah, imagine.
And I'm just spouting stuff I've read on, you know, line. I have never been to England. My daughter's been there. I've never been there. But...
Do you know where she's been? Did she come to London or did
she visited London? She was doing an exchange with a college. Is it called Xavier? Is there a college or Exeter? Is that?
Oh, Exeter.
Exeter, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the college. So she's in an architecture program, and they did a exchange. And we actually hosted an English student for a while, which was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I can't remember the city she stayed in. It was more rural. It wasn't like in London proper or anything.
Yeah.
But she did get me a cool Abbey Road magnet, which I thought was awesome. Because over here in the States, Abbey Road's like the musical mecca, you know. Which,
yeah,
it's just down the road for y'all. You just.
Yeah, I used to walk past it on the way to school. Like Abbey Road was near my school.
Nice.
So always constant traffic build up of people walking across.
Yeah.
Imagine if you lived there, you'd be so pissed all the time that you can't get to work because everyone's just trying to cross the road.
Do they keep a car like up on the curb like there is in the album cover just so you could have a good Photoshop?
They don't, but that would be so good.
They should.
Maybe we'll do it.
How much cosplay do you get out there with people dressed as the Beatles doing it?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I don't think I've seen that.
I haven't, but that would be amazing. Oh my god, we should do it. Oh no, that's so like stereotypical a band going to Abbey Road.
You should just do it because no one else is going to do it because it's so obvious. And so
we can call it exercise. It's legal if it's exercise. So we'll just power walk and Beatles on.
Yeah, just power walk it. Get a good camera that can catch you in motion, and just you got to dress the part though. You got to have the grave digger and somebody in all white, somebody in all denim, somebody barefoot.
Yeah. We'll do it.
Cool, and then it'd be like, yeah, have you heard of About Bunny? They're that band that did the Abbey Road thing. Oh yeah. Didn't they get arrested? Yeah, but they got out.
Yeah, but we spoke to them first.
Yeah, like they did get arrested. Had nothing to do with that though. Completely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you guys started writing 17, 18, did you have a chance to do any gigs before things got locked down?
We had one gig on January 2020, and we got offered to do it to support an amazing band called Vicovi. They're really cool. You guys should check them out. And we're very lucky. And we weren't sure whether we were going to do it. We just wanted this practice gig to see how it would sound, see if people would actually like us. And we just went for it. And we're so grateful we did because we actually got to have a gig. And the feedback was so good that night, which was amazing. But yeah, that was our only gig. And then everything shut down.
Because there was a point that we were like, oh, maybe we're not rehearsed enough. Like, maybe we should do a few more rehearsals before we do a gig. Can you imagine if we didn't? We'd still be like a year down the line.
So you guys can't even get together now and rehearse, huh?
No. You're allowed to do. We did a COVID. You're allowed to film. So we did a video, a really unique video shoot where we had to do everything on a green screen one by one. So we've shot a video for our new single, and neither of us have seen each other doing it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a surprise for us as much as it is for everyone else. Everyone
Yeah.
on one at a time in the room.
Be funny if
Yeah.
you all wore the same outfit and didn't know it.
Oh my God, probably. Yeah, probably Luke and I the same thing. As always.
Wow. That's interesting. That's a weird rule. It seems like you could be able to like test people and like the rapid test, you know, how they have those
Yeah.
rapid tests and then get together. But you guys getting the vaccine over there so you can get back to normal life pretty soon?
My grandparents have had it already, but I feel like for our age group, we're going to be a long way away. I feel like we're
Yeah,
like very bottom of the list.
sure. I think there's going to be a different generation in the club. You know, there's going to be sort of 80-year-olds people going down the club and going to the pub, going to cafes, and we'll all be inside dressed up against our windows.
That's gonna be a weird. That's gonna have a weird effect on like the socioeconomic makeup of this year. That's gonna be weird. Like, who's gonna serve them though?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe back in the workforce.
There you go. 60
Out of retirement. To be honest, though, my grandma was saying that she's so bored of sitting at home doing nothing. I imagine if she had a chance to work a few shifts behind a bar, she'd be like, "Yep, I'll do it."
Yeah, whatever.
She'll be there. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'd love to go to England and go to an actual pub, as they say. You know, we just have bars
Come
over
over.
here. Yeah.
When it's
I definitely want to travel more once this is lifted, because I feel like we took it for granted. You know, like, I could do that later. You know, I could always go whenever I want. It's like, nope, a whole year. So, well, I got a bit of a spastic ADD interview style, so I'm gonna switch back to like a music question. But Alex, so you play bass. So how did you how did you start doing that, and why the bass?
Why the bass? Very good question. I actually, one of the first bands that inspired me to play bass was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I didn't know it was the bass in the songs. I would just hear these really melodic, low end things happen. And then I realized it was the bass. So definitely Flea was a massive hero and inspiration for me to pick up the bass. And also just writing style as well. I feel like that has sort of fed in a little bit to About Bunny tracks where the bass is fairly at the forefront. Yeah. So that's definitely a big inspiration of mine, would be Flea from the Chili Peppers.
Cool. And as far as effects go, do you have like a big effects board, or do you have any favorites?
I like my toys. Yeah, they're mostly toy pedals. Like, in terms of, I don't have that very many like sort of fancy EQ pedals to get the session basis sound. I always have just fuzz. I mean, Big Muff is definitely a staple in the About Bunny sound catalog. I love an octave pedal as well. Microsynth, because you know we don't need a keyboard player. And
so 80s.
So 80s. So definitely fuzz pedals would be a big thing to do with our sound. But yeah, I just love toys. I think, as all guitarists, any guitarist does.
Is that octave?
But you must use them.
That octave pedal, does it just change the one note, or does it give you like a octave harmony as well?
So I've actually got two. I've got one. Yeah, it kind of adds a layer. So I've got an octave, the standard octave pedals for bass players. Well, you know, you're not low enough, so you can take it down an octave. So that kind of just adds a layer on, so you can play really high up and you get like the under the octave below, so it's really sort of juicy and meaty. And then we've also got we do, the Queen does. Yeah, we have an octave pedal that goes up as well, so I can take it a pitch up and sound like an alien. So nice. Yeah.
After I asked that, I was like, well, I mean, a bass harmony probably would be a bit thick. I don't even know if you'd want to do that, depending on the notes you were playing, right?
I think that's the thing. It's like great power, great responsibility. Yeah, just you got to be tasteful with these things. I mean, the general public has yet to decide whether I've been tasteful with it, but I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, I haven't been denied any of these pedals yet, so it's all good.
Nice. Yeah, I had a friend of mine was a big bass player, so he was always excited to get new pedals in and mess with his board. He was always rearranging the board and trying to get the sound just right. For
Yeah.
me, I don't have like the room or the equipment to do like live sound, but I do the VST stuff and like guitar rig. But I'd probably get lost trying to hook all those up. I'd have them in the wrong order or something like that, you know. So because now, how did you learn to do that? Is that just trial and error? Did you hang out in bass forums online? Did you have somebody teach you, or?
Yeah, I actually studied music at uni, and I think that was a huge thing then. I actually wasn't into pedals. I was very studious, and I thought, no, I need to be an amazing bass player before I can earn my pedals, which is absolute bullshit. And then afterwards, for some reason, I think it is a trial and error thing. I think everyone should just go for it and not be afraid to make mistakes, even if they're 150 quid pedal mistakes.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. But I think that's the thing as well. It is with gear as well. It is kind of mess about with it until you get the sound you like, and that's part of being creative as well. It's messing around and having fun. I definitely went. Forums are very good though for bass nerds, music nerds. If you have queries.
Yeah, I think the one my friend was always on was called Talk Bass, and which is pretty
Yeah,
good.
I know
Yeah.
that one.
And one more bass question: what is the favorite bass that you own?
My favorite bass I own is my Music Man.
I knew you were going to say that.
I blow kisses before I go to bed. I swear to God. Yeah, it's my Music Man. I just absolutely love it. It's really versatile in sound, and yeah, it's my baba. Stingray Music Man.
Very cool. Yeah, I have a soft spot for the bass because without it, the songs are just not the same. I sent a demo off recently to somebody to add some vocals to this section, and I just forgot to put bass on that entire section. And then funny side story about the bass, I have a bass like somebody gave me or traded me or something. It's nothing fancy, just something for me to track on my stuff because it just sounds better, more dynamic than synth bass, you know, or like any of the VST basses. So I play it through a little like practice amp and then into my interface through guitar rig. So it's kind of interesting. So you get some nice dynamic, but I down tuned it to drop C. I don't know what
nice.
Yeah, what tuning are you guys in usually? Are you in standard?
Standard, yeah. But I used to tune my bass down. I was a big like stoner grunge fan back in the day. I listened to a lot bands like Caius, if you ever heard them.
Yeah. My bass friend got me into Caius too, so that's probably just a bass thing. So anyway, I had to tune it down to drop C, and as you know, the action, if it's not right, if you tune it down too far, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like slapping. So I literally had to raise it up, I think half an inch, the back, you know, raise the strings almost half an inch to get it to sound right. Of course, then I had to retune them. But anyway, that was my adventure last night, but it worked out. It came out good. So, and Jimmy, you do the vocals. So as far as singing goes, when did you figure out that either you figured out you were good at singing or figured out you were going to do it regardless and got good at it, or, you know, what's your kind of background there?
Well, I've always been, I've always sung around like as a child. Or I'm an only child, so I had to entertain myself, and that was usually making up songs and singing and doing performances for my poor parents that didn't want to watch it. But I actually went to a drama school where I wasn't a good singer at all, and at this school it had a lot of people that were like musical theatre singers, so real well-trained, amazing, massive vocal range singers. So I always thought I was a bit crap at singing because my voice has always been low and it just wouldn't do that. So, you know, and those kind of things, if you do like auditions for musicals and stuff at school, I'd never really crack it with the parts and stuff, the singing parts anyway. But then I just feel like as I started writing with Alex mainly, when I found like my own way of songwriting and stuff, I thought, oh, if I sing like this, like what comes naturally to me, which is lower and shoutier, which is, I can get away with it. So I've never really seen myself as like someone who is a technically good singer, but I just really enjoy it. And then when we're writing, it's always in the vein of what feels natural to me. So it ends up sounding all right. But yeah, it's funny. I never thought how much I wanted to perform. I'd never really thought I had that vocal ability. I just kind of winged it with writing songs in the right key and really delivering the lines with as much conviction as possible.
There you go. Do it like you own the place, and they'll
Yeah,
believe you, right? Yeah.
that's my style. Just fake to make it.
Yeah. No, that's my life philosophy.
Yeah.
Especially when you realize, like, hey, I bet most of these people are full of shit anyway, right? Like,
Yeah.
everybody around me is doing the same thing. Cool. So, were you guys in any bands before About Bunny?
You've been in loads, haven't you, Alex? Well, Alex and I played together before, and like I was just writing songs and doing music by myself before Alex and I even wrote together. And we played with two of our friends and did some gigs, which was really just kind of like me singing as like almost like a solo act. And then before that, I was in like a pop group when I was 15. So that was different. But but I've met a lot of people then. The producers that we work with now were the producers that band worked with when I was 15. So everything happens for a reason. But I was in a very cheesy pop group that didn't go anywhere. And I think that's okay.
Yeah. I think for both of us, we've done loads of projects before, but this one kind of just felt we got on really well. And then because we'd kind of previously done that thing of you were doing your solo stuff and I was kind of playing in that. As soon as we sort of wrote together, it just sort of clicked, and we kind of took it from there. And it just, yeah, everything felt natural. Our writing, we just really enjoyed the writing.
It's actually just fun. Like it doesn't feel like work, which is nice. And I don't know if your friends have said this, Alex, but my other friends have kind of said when they've heard this about Bunny stuff, they've kind of all been like, oh, this is you. Like this is right, compared to like me trying to sing musicals or whatever I was trying to do before. They've all kind of said, oh, this definitely is where you sit. This makes sense for you, which I feel like it does.
Well, that's where you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. So not that we can really project when, live music will be back, but do you guys have any big goals for that time?
Oh God, do as much as possible. I feel like as soon as we're able to, we'll be there. Like our manager Gary is literally even trying to see what can be done. Like we've even thought we might even end up doing some live stream stuff event if it doesn't look like we're going to get out of lockdown anytime soon. We don't know. But that's what we love to do. I mean, that gig that we did, I mean, we've played gigs out of the band in different projects and loved it. But when we did that one gig together, it was so fun. It's kind of what it's all about for me.
Yeah, and also just to be able to kind of be in the same room as other people and feel that energy, and to be able to talk to people after the gig as well, and kind of it's like a whole community as well.
Right before we came on, Luke, our drummer, sent a video of, I think it was Stephen Colbert's show last night. There was a band, and I can't remember who it was. They've just done a gig or a live show where everyone's in those, what are they called? Them like big round, are they called Zorb things? What are they called?
They look like bubbles though.
Yeah, they did a show, and it was Stephen, I'm sure it was on the Stephen Colbert show last night.
I saw that on Instagram. I can't remember.
Was that the Flaming Lips one?
Flaming Lips, that's who it was.
Yeah.
And that looked like so much fun. Like I'd even do that. Like I would go to that. I mean, mild claustrophobia of just being stuck, but that would be amazing.
Since you're the singer, everyone else can be in a bubble, and you can be out of the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can be pushing the bubbles around and causing havoc.
Lawsuits left, right, and centre. Be just pushing people into something.
Yeah. Rock and roll.
It's crazy the different approaches, all the like even a different regional take, like the United States is 50 different freaking groups of philosophies and people. So, you could be literally in adjacent states. One's like completely locked down and one's like having pool parties and just whatever, especially like Florida and like Florida's like totally wide open and California is like the opposite, Well, cool. So how are you guys like, because a lot of my audience are other indie musicians and other indie artists like yourself, how do you go about picking up new fans when you can't go tour? Because that's really where you pick up a lot of fans on the road. So how are you getting, building your audience while you're locked down?
I think, do you want to? I can. I'll go.
Yeah,
Social media. I think it's the only thing we can.
yeah. I was gonna say is social media, and I think that's been a massive thing because even that first gig, we managed to pick up people who loved our music, and they were so supportive because we sort of we made this Instagram page, we did a gig, they followed it. All these people from, I think it was like 250 people from this gig, this kind of rock gig we did with Bacovi, and yeah, sort of grown since then. We started releasing music and yeah, spreading the word, and social media has been a massive thing, and also just yeah, connecting with other bands via that as well, and checking out bands that we like, and it's a really great space for that, and it's a community space as well. So
I think that you're right with that as well. I think like that's made a difference. I've noticed like a lot of bands, especially in this lockdown, a lot of British bands have been reaching out to us, and vice versa, and everyone just kind of, because everyone's in the same boat, and if you can like and share their stuff, and then they like and share your stuff, and there's a lot of people doing like awesome uh radio shows and stuff, and more indie radio shows and stuff that are always looking for new acts to put on their show and discover and stuff. I feel like that's all that you can do at the moment, and just hope that word spreads, and just post as much as possible without annoying people, obviously, as well.
I'd say annoy them, man.
Yeah,
Because
so do we.
everybody else is doing it. You go in there, and even famous people have post after post. And what I think is cool about social media is that you can pick up followers by, of course, posting about your music. But you can also post about like real life stuff, like your dog, or you got a new car, just something interesting that happened to you that day, and you post it, and people are interested, especially if you hashtag it right, which is like a science all in itself, right? What I do is I go on to the hashtag indie music and just kind of scroll. And I want to say that's how I came across your
Yeah,
band.
it might. But I just, when you said that, I thought, I wonder if that, I always use indie music.
I can't
That's
even,
a high
yeah,
chance that happened.
I know, Gemma, we struck up a conversation is how we ended up talking today. And
Yeah,
if I go back to the beginning of that thread,
I think it was Twitter.
oh yeah, you said you saw a tweet, but that was the
Yeah.
same thing. I went to hashtag indie music and kind of had a form response. I'm trying not to be spammy about it. I'm like, okay, if this is an indie artist, then my show's beneficial because they can either discover other people or come on the show or just be entertained by it. So
It didn't seem spammy. It's all good. You've written it in a good way.
yeah, I was trying to do that. I only had one negative response where a guy thought I was spamming him, but I like apologized publicly and in the DMs, and he never responded. So maybe he's just grumpy. I don't know.
Yeah, bad day.
But definitely never trying to spam anyone. Like I wouldn't post an ad for my show on something unrelated to indie music.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Well,
I figure most indie bands like yourself want exposure. So
yeah, you're
I
giving
love
people a
talking about
platform.
the
That's
same
amazing.
music. So
yeah,
exactly, yeah, you're right, Alex. Yeah.
I'm not selling my music, right?
Yeah.
Although I have some, but
You said it's
yeah,
in.
yeah.
It's in the mix.
Believe me, there'll be an ad at the beginning of the show on the podcast for it. But somebody's got to pay for this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Might as well be me, right? But anyway, yeah. So that's what the show's all about: spreading indie music and making that audience. And actually, it's been very helpful because every artist kind of brings new advice. One show that hadn't been released yet, I talked to a audio engineer, producer type person. So instead of talking about their music, we talked about production techniques and mastering techniques. I found it fascinating. We talked for like an hour and a half on the show and then like 30 minutes afterwards. So I'm looking forward to that coming out, and hopefully people could pick up some tips and maybe he can get some business out of it. So
Yeah. Sick.
but that's the idea. Well, cool. So we've talked a bit. Let's talk about some of your music. So I'm gonna play the tracks you have on Spotify, and then I'll add those because I have a playlist as well for the show, and so I'll
Cool.
add those tracks. So let me swap over to Spotify real quick. And yeah, so you have two tracks up here. And actually, I might as well just share the screen real quick. So when we finish talking about it, we could play it. Let me get back. navigating the software is just a ton of fun.
I feel like Alex looks so good. I feel like when we come back off the share screen, I'm going to have a different outfit on. I'm going to have eye makeup on.
This is a casual Monday afternoon for me.
This is genuinely my cat. Look at that. There we are.
Well, this is how I dress for work. So I'm an IT guy at a casino. So
Cool.
I just put on a band shirt and usually a hoodie. And if I have a meeting, I might put on a button-up shirt, but it's going to be really loud and paisley, you know.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Nice.
So everybody should be able to see your Spotify page. Can you guys see it?
Yep, indeedy. That's us right there.
There we are. There's me with makeup on.
The
my hair down.
Me with the hot blonde hair.
The first thing I notice is like it's kind of a lo-fi aesthetic to your photos. It's not some like over the top like you guys pose with dragons and flying through the sky and things like that. And it's
I wanted this.
Yeah.
So tell me how you guys came up with this look for your photos.
I think this is the most genuine way to do it, especially for us as like a brand new band, an indie band with, you know, we had a Polaroid camera and a white wall and a friend to take pictures of us. So it just seemed like the most authentic thing. Like if we could have tried to do some like flashy photo shoot, but I don't know if it would just come across a bit false.
Yeah.
We don't have a flashy budget, so.
And we're such a new band. We're still figuring out. That's like part of the creative journey, I guess. We're still figuring out that all of that are kind of our look together. Like as a band, we get on like a house on fire. We go out so many nights and we have such a laugh. Like we're really close as a band. But yeah, just figuring that out, what sort of photos, what if we're going to have dragons or not. I think that's still a kind of a bit of a journey for us. And this was just messing around with the Polaroid camera, and
we actually thought we were going to do one all together as a 4, but we thought like the individuals actually looked cool.
Yeah.
And it's very COVID safe, this, even though this was before COVID. It looks like a COVID safe.
Socially distanced Polaroids.
Yeah.
So these were actual physical Polaroids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's how very retro.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing how popular that is. My kids are teenagers, right? And they're fascinated about. They all want a Polaroid. I'm like, they're like walking around with iPhones and iPads. I'm like, you guys could take the most amazing pictures in the world, and they literally want me to go buy Polaroids.
Yeah, I feel like we all want what we don't have.
You know? It's so weird. I'm trying to think of
the physical.
Yeah, you're right. It's the physical that people don't have anymore. That's so true.
It's the excitement. It's the excitement of getting it developed. Same with like a vinyl. You buy it, you buy the music, and then you put it on, and it's the whole process. And you really, you look at the artwork, you read the lyrics. There's like a whole thing, and you spend time in it, and you.
Yeah, I love buying vinyl. I love that they still press new music to vinyl. So I was born in '82, so I was a kid in the '90s. I was like 10 years old in '92. So, vinyls went away for a bit. When CDs came out, it's like they quit making vinyl. Like no one's gonna want these anymore. And so there's this whole like era of music, in the '90s that if there's vinyl now, it's because they reprinted it, but there was hardly any new vinyl then. So I'm excited. And yeah, I go buy my favorite bands on vinyl, or like cool novelty bands, like an indie band that gets a press is pretty cool. So my favorite vinyl is probably an original pressing of the Are You Experienced Jimi Hendrix vinyl. Yeah, it wasn't a reprint. It's actually from like 67, whatever year it came out. Anyway, it's pretty neat. Found it in an old record shop for like $100. I was like, that's worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it plays well. So
yeah, I think as well, it's funny to kind of see like some people don't know the value of them as well. Like my mum was chucking out my uncle's. Like they were nothing, and they're all these kind of old vinyls from the 70s.
Oh, that hurts my feelings.
Yeah, so funny.
Well, cool. Let's dive into the songs a little bit here. The first one you have is called "Keep It to Yourself."
Yeah.
And this is relatively recent release, right?
Yeah, 2 days ago. What day is it now?
Friday.
It came out on Friday.
Yeah, it was like Friday we released it. 22nd, yeah.
Well, you already got 3,400 spins,
single.
so that's not bad for definitely for an indie release, to get a few thousand spins in a few days. I mean, you're getting about 1,000 a day at this rate, so that's very very cool. So tell me about the song itself.
Malseed.
Malseed,
So
Malseed.
that's his surname. I don't
Yeah,
just start coming up.
it was it was another 10 minute. I feel like Jem and I, when we write as well, we kind of have lyrics on a page and we just kind of, go back and forth really quickly with ideas. But this one generally is about, it's about being in a dark place mentally, and like battling that, I think, in regards to other people as well and yourself. And I feel like the response we've actually had from that is being fairly good, because I don't know if it's the fact that everyone's maybe going through that because of what's been happening in the world. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's generally what it's about. If you have anything to add to that, Gemma?
No, yeah, it's just like I feel like with what I do with our writing, for me, it's always every time you write a song, it's a snapshot in time for me. That's such a snapshot in time. That sounds so cheesy, but
Polaroid.
it's like, it's a Polaroid. No, but it is. And I feel like every song that we've written and the ones that we've got to come, and these two remind me of a specific time. And when I'm writing the lyrics with Alex, what's coming from my brain is of a particular moment. So for me, this song is very much about a particular period of my life when I was like had a load of friends that weren't really my friends, and when you kind of wake up and go, what am I doing? Like, who are these people? What am I doing? And how have I got here? And that can be in loads of different scenarios, but it was like a specific thing for me, which is what I love to do with all people's music. When I hear a song written by another artist, I always, the ones that I'm obsessed with, songs that I'm obsessed with, always take me to visually a place or a moment in my life. So I feel like that's why I love music. And then when we're writing, that's what I do as well. So yeah,
Cool.
that's my take.
Of course, I had a little yawn right when you finished talking, and I need to speak. It always times this way like that.
Over it. It's early in this time difference.
Yeah, it's only 10:30 in the morning here. I'm gonna play the song in just a second, but I'm checking out the Polaroids again. And I tell you, I dig that jacket the dude on the far right's wearing. Which guy is that?
That's Carl.
Yeah.
Forest.
And okay, yeah, that's just a cool jacket. That I guess I don't know if it's denim or leather. I can't tell, but
I think it's like
corduroy.
Yeah, it's orangey. It's more orangey in person, but I feel like because the Polaroid, but it looks cool. It looks really good on the Polaroid as well.
And in your Polaroid, Jemma, you got a Billy Piper vibe going on there.
Yeah. Oh, so we actually went to the same school. So I've had this since I was 5 years old, my whole life.
She looks like her.
Yeah.
It's a
yeah, I always have.
I obviously discovered her by watching Doctor Who, and then my wife and I was like, "Oh, she was a pop star for a minute," and so we listened to like her hit.
Because you want to.
Yeah, because you want to. It's so catchy. It's cheesy as hell, but it's catchy. But she was great. I wish she was in the show more. But do you guys watch it? Do you guys watch that show?
I watched that season. My dad was always like, you need to ring them and tell them that they should write you in as a character, as her daughter or something. I was like, first of all, there's not that much of an age difference. I'm sure she would have had me at like 10 or something. But yeah, I watched that one just because I like watching Billie Piper's stuff. I feel like she's great. But I haven't really kept up with the more recent seasons. Do you watch it, Alex?
Doctor Who?
Yeah.
I watched a few episodes. I used to watch it, I think it was like the 70s version when I was a kid, and the Daleks that used to freak the shit out of me. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't religiously watched it. I did follow her pop career very closely when I was 7.
Me too.
Nice. That's funny. That's like the opposite. I'm religious about watching Doctor Who, but I've only loosely followed Billy's
pop career.
Yeah.
You should delve in.
There's a really great track called Honey to the Bee, and it's an absolute classic.
I'll have to check it out. I'll just binge your discography. It's probably on Spotify as well.
Yeah, it will be for sure. Yeah. You'll have a good time.
Awesome. Well, let's play we'll play Keep It to Yourself, and we'll be right back, and we'll keep chatting. Make sure I'm always like paranoid. It sounds like it works. So if you guys can hear it, just like give me a thumbs up on the camera. Nice. I like that.
Hey.
I purposely hadn't listened to it till now, so I get a real reaction.
Cool.
How
Nice.
scary.
I'm glad
you didn't tell us that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, it would have been weird if I didn't be like,
Can you imagine?
So that's a real gamble. I love that.
yeah, might as well spice it up, right?
Yeah.
Keep it real. I like that. That's all worked very well. The vocal delivery I found really cool. I was trying to think if it reminded me of anybody, but I don't know. I couldn't think of anybody in particular, but I like it. I like what you did there. When did you guys actually record it? I mean, because like I said, we've been locked down a while.
Got quite a while before lockdown 1, right?
2019.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, I think we wrote it at the end of 2018, we wrote a pile of stuff throughout 2019 and recorded it sometime then. Yeah.
Yeah. We did have the intent of releasing this all through 2020, but then we thought, oh, we'll wait until we're out of lockdown and out of COVID. And then obviously that never happened. So the good thing is we've had a lot, because we thought we were going to be releasing probably from like April time 2020. We have quite a lot recorded and ready to go because we thought we would need all this material for last year. So yeah, we have at least, I mean, we've got about 6 recorded already that we can just start filtering out over this year and hopefully eventually play some live stuff with it as well. But
yeah,
it's done a long time. Start waiting.
Do you have another release already scheduled?
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to release the video for the interesting, we don't know what's going to happen video. I think in February, and then we might release another after that, possibly. Yeah, and we managed to write as well over lockdown. Like
We are on Skype.
On Skype, yeah.
It was quite funny, though. It was quite funny. Like one of us had to go on mute for the other one because of the time delay. Alex was playing her bass and I was trying to sing.
Yeah,
but it
we're just trying to
off.
Vibe off each other, basically.
Yeah. And then sometimes, like, so what would happen is Alex would play the bass, I'd go on mute, record myself on voice notes singing what we'd come up with. But then sometimes there'd be like a lag, like the signal goes wrong and then it really slows down and then speeds up. And you try to sing along and it's like, trying to get it out. So funny.
Modern problems, right?
Yeah.
That's exciting. So sounds like something exciting going on in the background there.
Yeah. So who's that? Who's getting arrested?
High Street, just London.
London. Classic London.
It's like every Zoom meeting you have, someone has some sort of police car, fire engine or something going.
Might be more aliens attacking. If I learned anything from Doctor Who, is that aliens only attack London.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all know that here, but it's
confidential information.
Yeah.
Yeah, classified.
We can't share that with you. Unless you come over to London.
Yeah, one day. I'm going to make it over there one day. Maybe I could time it with some gigs and catch you guys live. That'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
And we could do a live stream show from the show.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Amazing.
We're here live for now.
Yeah.
Till something else happens. All right. We got one more song here called Special. So tell me about that one. It's got almost 20,000 spins on Spotify. So how long has this one been out?
My mom streamed that.
First release. Was it November? November?
Yeah, it was November.
November last year.
13th.
The 13th specifically. It was Friday the 13th, wasn't it? It was a Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, I remember that.
So tell me about Special.
So Special was the first song that Alex and I ever wrote together. We decided that we'd start writing together, and we hired a little studio in King's Cross in London, a little room, and we'd spent 2 hours or like 2 hours 40 trying to write another song, which Alex always remembers and I always forget, but I can't remember what it is now. And then we had like 10 minutes left on the room, and I thought, oh, well, let's just like try and quickly whack something out in 10 minutes. And then I said, just play the first thing that comes to your head, some kind of bouncy bass. And Alex just went, dum, 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 dum. And then the first words that came out of my mouth was, it was a summery night. It was the first line of the song. And then 10 minutes later, we had our first single without even realizing it. So it was we love it that this was our first song because it was the first one, technically the second song we ever wrote together, but the first one that stuck. And it was written quickly, and it's a fun song about meeting, for me. I mean, this is what I love about music. Everyone has a different interpretation. Alex, you'll have your own as well. For me, it was about meeting someone who, going to a social situation, remember what those are, and meeting someone that thinks they own the room and having a bit of a play with them almost, like kind of saying, well, what makes you so special? Right. What about me? That kind of thing. Alex, what's your...
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I think it kind of goes back into that thing that you kind of get into this creative world, and we just started writing kind of, a scenario or a story about like that. Yeah, meeting someone a night out and them being a bit of a dickhead, really.
But you know how it is.
Right.
You know how it goes.
I mean, I do live in America. Yeah. You guys know how we are. Cool. I could definitely relate to that. Well, let's give it a play and we'll be right back. This is Special by About Bunny.
Don't know the name of
Wow, I like it. That one has a real commercial vibe to it. Not as in like in a like a the right sense here. Like it could be placed in media, you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
commercials
yeah.
or
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, for
Mm.
sure.
Have you guys tried that yet? Have you submitted anything for I
We
forget the
talked about it. Did we actually do that? We have talked about it before.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. I don't know if we've done it
I don't
yet.
think we've done it.
That's a very good question, which I think we
Yeah,
should talk to our manager about.
we'll be talking to Gary for
But
this.
yeah, it's definitely commercial. I think this was because we were discussing, what everyone had a different idea about what song to release first. And I think because Special was slightly more commercial, we thought we'd start with that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it felt really right as well at the time. And it just so happened that it was the first song that we wrote together as well. So it was special.
It was
yeah.
special.
Well, it's catchy, well written, so it's good stuff. I think if you, I can't remember the industry term for it. I had another guest just taught me that the other night because she kept saying I submitted it for this, and I was like, I think I know what that means, but I'm not sure. But it was for TV and movies and things like that. So I think that would be a one that wouldn't be hard to get picked up for something like that. So you're probably definitely looking to submitting it for that,
Oh,
Yeah. I like the way those guitars pan, kind of the middle of the song, or how they bounce, from left to right. I thought that was pretty neat. So I know you wrote it quickly. Obviously, probably went back and I mean that's not the recording from the 10-minute session, I assume.
no, imagine.
No, we should lie and say it is.
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it
really.
was. Yeah.
No, yeah. So our kind
I
of
play the drums really well. And
yeah, I feel like our process is sort of, yeah, it definitely is like bass and vocals. I have my like acoustic bass in the corner, just like not upright, but just acoustic bass.
Right.
Go round to Gemma's, bash out a song, and then
You're not
we
over there
record it.
upright, like
Yeah.
fretless.
So if I could fit it in my London flat, I would. Um, yeah, and then I actually record on GarageBand.
yeah.
It's awesome. It's basic bitch stuff, but it's awesome. And then we kind of send it off to the producers, and then we would go round to their studio and do it layer by layer, one by one. So yeah, drums, bass, vocals.
We've actually always recorded one by one as well, haven't we? We never really go down to the studio together.
Yeah, we never do like it all together.
No, we go one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be nice to do it together one day, just to see how everyone's doing.
Do you two do the writing by yourself and then you go to the band and you're like, here's the song, like make your part, or is it more interactive than that?
It's more kind of a collaboration with the producers on that part. So yeah, we essentially write the bass and the melody and the lyrics, and then we take it to we work with our producers Andy and Paul, and they collaborate with the guys, the drummer and the guitarist Carl and Luke, on their parts. So it's kind of like all a bit of collaboration. Everyone has their own little cog in the machine.
Yeah.
And it's kind of worked on like that.
Yeah.
I just come in to sing over the top when it's all done. I'm back.
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
So obviously the band, you guys have been, or at least you two have been writing together for a minute, and the band recorded this stuff a while back, but obviously your Spotify presence is definitely relatively small, right? You gave your 2 tracks out and you guys have only done 1 gig. So how did you already get, from an indie musician's perspective, how'd you already get to where you have a producer you're working with and a manager and these other people helping you out for such a young project?
Well, with the producers, they were the producers that were working on the pop band that I was in when I was 15. So I was in this kind of like very much turn up, audition, sing a pop song, be put in a band. You are the blonde one. You will wear blue. And like it was one of those.
The
it was
Billy
one
Pipers.
Of those. Yeah, very much like that. So they were on that project. And then when that ended, for years, I wanted these two to come to all my gigs. These guys. I was like, because I wanted to work with them because they were so awesome. I was like, oh, please come down. and they were always well, they were working on other stuff. But like their last band was this like kind of new metal band, and they were working with them kind of all the time. So they didn't really have time to take on any new projects. But that band separated, and I met our manager Gary at someone else's gig. I was at my friend Mags's gig. He was there. We just started talking about music, and then he managed this metal band that they're called the 100 that our producers used to work with as well. So I used to speak to Gary on Twitter just about the gigs that they were playing, because I went down and saw them play live a couple of times. And then when they disbanded, I thought I'll just reach out to Gary and see. I know that band's disbanded, he might have space for another project. And then they came down to a gig that I was playing with Alex, one for my kind of solo music. And I said, look, I've been trying to get hold of Andy and Paul to work with them for ages, because we didn't have any producers at that point. He said, oh, I'll drop them a line and see if they'll come down. And they came down to a gig, and then they liked it. They enjoyed themselves. And then we had a meeting the next week, and they were like, look, we think you'd be better doing it in a band, because it's the same kind of music, but it was just me on my own, because I didn't really know how to start a band. And then they were like, you should definitely get Alex on board and write with her. And then it literally went from there. So it's kind of been 10 years in the making. So I met them all 10 years ago, even though we've only been working together for 2 years. It all started in my teens. But yeah. So it's just luck as well. Like it's a lot of luck and persistence of inviting them to everything I was doing for 7 years, and then they came to the last thing. Because
I think that's the thing as well. It's like you annoyed the shit out of them until they turned up. And I think that's the thing. It's like I think a lot of people think things just happen, but you have to annoy the shit out of people.
And also, they only came down because one of their sons a photographer, and he actually shoots videos and and everything like that. And because Andy was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about coming," and then I was like, "Well, maybe Ben can take some live photos, build up his portfolio." Yeah,
I'm helping him.
Yeah. Like, well, maybe Ben could take some pictures, and he was like, "Oh yeah, maybe Ben can take some pictures," and that's how.
With a Polaroid.
Andy ended up, Polaroid. Yeah. He actually did take them. Ben did take the Polaroids, didn't he?
Yeah.
But that's how they ended up coming. So we got, it took years, but we got them down to watches eventually, and then everything happened kind of all at once.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if people listening want to support you guys or find out more about you, where can they go on the internet?
With Instagram, it's all at About Bunny Band. Instagram About Bunny Band, Twitter About Bunny Band, Facebook About Bunny Band. And then you'll find all of our individual socials and stuff on there as well. So you can really get to know us personally.
Cool.
YouTube as well.
YouTube, yeah.
Got a video for Special is out. And hopefully, keep it to yourself. We'll be out soon.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's important to have videos these days?
I don't know if it's important, but I enjoy them. I enjoy making them, and I do enjoy watching them to get to know who the artist is. But I don't think I think it's
for sure.
And like videos were made to promote music on television, and now that doesn't. I don't know many people that get their new music from MTV anymore as much as they would from a Spotify playlist or Apple Music or Deezer or something. So I don't think it's vital, but I think it's nice. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, it's definitely another creative media, and it can definitely kind of show another side to whatever you've been writing or your band or your brand. So I think they're important if you can do them. And I think now you can do them with no money. Everyone's got a phone or something.
Do an iPhone video.
And you can be really creative in that way as well if you don't have a lot. Find ways to be creative.
Like when OK Go did it, like at the start of YouTube, and they did that treadmill video, and then it became absolutely huge because they just thought of something, set up a camera, probably spent days on a dance routine on a treadmill, and then something so simple, and they were off.
Yeah. And editing, I guess, has gotten easier, or kids are smarter. My 11-year-old daughter can make almost full-length feature films on TikTok, and like I have a hard time just deleting scenes from video that I don't want. So that's why I send this off to my editor. Shout out to Captain Volpine. excellent editor. And if you hadn't heard that episode of the podcast, you should definitely check out Captain
Cool, yeah.
Volpine. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes of like gold.
Wow.
Awesome.
I won't say it's the best show because that would have be disrespectful to all my other guests, but it's definitely it's definitely
really
it's definitely the most unique show. And the most popular one I got. So you guys should check that one out. And he helps me edit the show, so I give him a little extra promotional bump there.
Right.
You guys brought up listening to new music. Do you guys like listening to whole albums? Because I'm an album guy. Like I listen to an entire album before I move on, so I don't really like hit playlists.
Yeah.
I am definitely like that. I feel like sometimes it's hard to find, unless it's, I feel like sometimes with new music, the way a lot of artists are, well, I guess a lot of more mainstream like artists are being told by the labels to write singles, I think. So when you hear an album, it's often like, oh, I know all these because they were all on Music Friday over the last like 9 weeks, and now it's a 9-track album with a bonus track with maybe a feature with the other person's album. So I don't know, but I love finding a good album. I feel like albums are like moments in time as well. Like when you think of a favorite album, I always feel like I remember where I was when I first heard it and what my life was doing at that time. So I've always connected music with periods of my life. And that's what I think albums do that singles don't do as much. I guess there's the odd single that you're like, oh, I remember I was here when I heard this, but not as much as like, I remember being sat on like specific chairs when I heard some albums for the first time, or like, where I was walking, what I was walking past. I walked down the street the other day in Bethnal Green is where I used to live in London. And it's the first place I heard Jagged Little Pill. And I know that I'm 10 years late on that, but it was, I just hadn't heard it before. I was 17. Was I 17 or was I 18? I'd never listened to it the whole way through, but I knew, because I knew Ironic and I knew You Ought to Know and maybe Look Right Through or something. But then because the whole rest of the album is so...
Yeah, my favorite off that one is You Learn. You know that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, me too. But the whole album, and every time I walk past the Bethnal Green fire station, it just always will remind me of like Look Right Through or Hand in My Pocket or something. And it's strange when I went back there the other day, I was like, oh my God. I say the other day, about a year and a half ago, before COVID.
Same thing.
It kind of takes me back to the video thing as well, because like I remember seeing You Ought to Know on like MTV2 for the first time or something, but it wasn't on the radio because it was like past the time it had been released. So that was like a way for me to literally find that song existed, and also just like see this kind of super fucking badass bitch woman rocking out.
Yeah, that changed my perception of music, I think.
But I think definitely albums are amazing because it's like a whole body of work, and it's always a concept as well, and I feel like you can get into it and go on a journey.
Yeah, I think albums work better than a collection of singles because that's kind of like what greatest hits are, right? And greatest hits are never that cohesive, right? Because you have something from 5 years apart, right? That have nothing to do with each other, which is weird. Then they put new songs on greatest hits albums, which I always thought is weird.
I don't like that.
Yeah, everybody does it though.
They're just assuming it'll be a hit, and then it never is. I was like, what's this one?
The one or a couple exceptions to that I've seen is Tom Petty put, I think Mary Jane's Last Dance was on Greatest Hits. I think is where that came out, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of his hits that was like new on the Greatest Hits, and he objected to it. And then when it was a hit, he was like, oh, whatever, I guess they know what they're talking about.
Saved him doing it.
And then Def Leppard put When Love and Hate Collide was a new song on their Greatest Hits, which worked out. So I guess it works out every now and then.
Maybe people hear it go, this will be a hit and we'll put it on. Or they're just trying to plug it.
Yeah, well, and it's easy marketing, right? Because everybody's going to get the hits because that's what they like. Oh, here's a new song. But yeah, I find it weird because when you listen to Greatest Hits, it's like it's supposed to feel familiar and you know what you're listening to, which is kind of weird now. I don't even see the point in doing it now because you could just put your own album together on Spotify or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, people do make their own. I mean, a lot of my playlists on Spotify are just songs from different albums. Sometimes the same artist, but my favorite songs from their different albums.
Right.
just what I want to listen to for the next 3 months, and then I'll switch to another set of tracks from different people. You do make your own little thing.
Yeah, I have like my favorite band ever, Def Leppard, as you might know because I mentioned them 5 times today. But I think I have 3 or 4 playlists by them. You know, it's like I have like the ultimate, like these are all their best stuff, and then I have deep cuts. You know, it's like completely avoided all the singles and everything, and just did that. See, it's kind of like weird now for them to even put out a greatest hits. It's like I mean, I already have a copy of all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So, About Bunny band is the handle everywhere. Is there like a website about Bunny yet? Or?
I think there is, but all it does is take you to the Big Lebowski Wikipedia page. I think that's what it does. I'm sure that's what we did because we didn't know what
it does. It does.
Right. Well, as that will develop, you can promote it.
Yeah. I was like, no one is going to get this.
Yeah. Well, they might now.
No, I get it now. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, that's an interesting title, but yeah, that's such a great movie. I won't spoil it for anybody that hadn't seen it, but yeah, I don't know. I had something else I was going to go over. I don't remember what it was, but whatever. So usually towards the end of every show, I'll let the artist or the guest offer advice to other indie musicians based on your experience. So I'll let you guys do that now. You guys can take turns or whatever.
Ooh. I mean, for me, I guess we kind of touched on it a bit earlier, but the only way that we've managed to push through is persistence. Be persistent and make sure you're writing with someone that you enjoy. I feel like that is true though, because a lot of projects before are forcing writing almost, kind of like, oh, I'll just this is what writing's meant to feel like, right? And sat in a room with someone just kind of like awkwardly chipping stuff in. And if you can manage to find someone that, like, I mean, this is just now just a love letter between me and Alex, but if you can manage to find someone that you can write so easily and so fun with, I would obviously recommend that.
Doesn't feel like work.
Shouldn't feel like hard. Should feel like hard work when you're plugging it, but maybe when you're being creative, hopefully it should feel like fun.
Yeah. I feel like, I think being persistent, say, like, don't take no for an answer. If you really believe in it, then just keep going for it. And then I also say, like, doing all, because for all the musicians, I know they'll spend like 400 hours practicing and writing, but then they won't do any plugging of their own shit on social media. And I think it is an important thing to spread your music out there if you really want it. So you gotta work that angle as well.
Yeah, don't be embarrassed to do it, I guess.
Yeah, just be proud of your work and go for it.
What have you found to be?
Other people is our advice.
What have you found to be the best method so far, or can you discern the best, or as far as what platform to promote on, or the best means of promoting?
I would say don't discard any platform. Like, I feel like that's something that thought, oh, maybe like Twitter, like we haven't really got, well, this is the thing, like, well, we haven't really got many Twitter followers compared to our Instagram followers. But the fact that we're here today shows that Twitter works, because that's how we met. That's how we started talking. So, So I wouldn't discard anything. I think try them all. Just try them all, get accounts and everything, because you don't know which one will be the one that will lead to something cool, I think.
Are you guys on TikTok yet?
I love TikTok.
I mean, is the band though? Like, is there a band? No.
But to be fair though, because we haven't been like, I got TikTok in the first lockdown, or right before the first lockdown. So I guess if we did have a band TikTok, it would just be like one of us at a time anyway, because we're not allowed in the same room together. So maybe when we're out of COVID, we'll start a band TikTok. I love it.
Well, the cool thing about TikTok, right, is you could do the duets, so you could all just keep duetting together, and then you'd have a bit of a production.
Yeah, there we go. I'm meant to be like the resident TikTok woman, and I haven't even come up with this for the rest of the band.
You guys should do that. That would be dope. That'd be dope. All right. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on the show today and
having us.
Hey, do you guys have any merchandise yet, like about Bunny shirts or anything?
We do. Yeah, we do. We have like, oh my God, you know what's so weird? Mine is here too. That is so weird.
Our little.
I have that too. I don't have one.
I take mine with me everywhere.
I'm participating, but I
The
don't know
We can
what
get
I'm
you a
doing.
shirt
you
if
can
you
put
want.
on.
We can get you a
I
shirt.
I have a beer cap.
That works.
It's Guinness. It's Guinness,
Sick.
so I mean, you know, it's
I
English,
mean,
right?
that's Irish merch,
Irish,
so
there you go.
I'm done with that.
There you go.
Yeah, we have
We
t-shirts.
actually have like we have these like limited like Big Lebowski edition t-shirts with Tara Reid and her toe on. So
Yeah,
if you want one, we can get you one. Send it.
Yeah, I'll DM you my mailing address, and if
Wicked.
there's an expense, let me know. Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate you guys coming on. I'll shoot you a DM with that address. Always love supporting the guest. And when you guys have more stuff, you know, we'll come back on maybe. And I've been, you know, a geek to do more live stuff, especially like if whole album releases or something like that would be kind of fun. Virtual album release party, appropriate for COVID, right? Since we can't really get together. But other than that, I want to thank you guys. Thank everybody for watching and listening. This has been Jemma and Alex from About Bunny, and we'll be back with other great episodes as soon as we can. So thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
thank you.